What's up, guys? I'm LAJ
And this is Marvin.
with Legendary Sports, and we're here to break down the acquisition of Manny Machado and Brian Dozier. The Dodgers began the second half of the season on a 17-game nonstop stretch. They played against teams above 500 who are not only contenders but division leaders, and we capped it off with the defending champions. Some say Game 8, some say a nightmare series. But real briefly, did you get a chance to watch the Andre Ethier ceremony?
Just like clips of it. That's pretty much it. I didn't actually. That's because stupid Dodgers don't let anyone watch their games. So just like the quick little replays online.
Yeah, yeah, no, I feel you. Honestly, if I were to, one day, retire from wherever I'm doing, please don't have Bateman do my retirement ceremony. Honestly, I felt like it was just like I didn't like it. I really didn't like it.
I didn't watch that.
Yeah, no,
Like I haven't seen that.
yeah, it felt awkward, like the way he was interviewing him, and it was just nah. Andre Ether deserved better. So
Uh,
they went on a 17-game stretch and they finished 9-8. Do you think that's a successful run, or how do you feel about that?
so the tough stretch, it's it's tough for any team. Even the best team in baseball, they're gonna have a hard time with facing all those great teams that we did. But overall, I I want to say I'm happy, but I'd be lying to you because 9-8, we should be better than that. We're definitely on paper we're the best team in the NL
Mm-hmm.
without a doubt,
Mm-hmm.
and we should be better than 9-8. I remember, I don't know if you recall, before this tough stretch on our radio show, we talked about how we'd be happy with them going 2, 3 games above 500. But that was before we got Machado, before we picked up Dozier.
Yeah.
So it was a completely different team. So with those additions, I kind of expected them to be a little better than above, like 2 or 3 games above 500 for that tough stretch.
I,
But all in all,
I'm gonna agree with you on that.
oh,
Yeah, definitely, I'm gonna agree with you on that.
yeah, it's the thing with the thing about that is the offense is very so far it's inconsistent. We see them put up 21 on Milwaukee, but then
Hmm.
they'll get blanked out the next day. So it's this offense just we haven't seen them get on a consistent rhythm.
Yeah, yeah. I
What
think
about yourself? What do
I
you think?
I think I could pull out three games that the Dodgers should have won, and the first one being game two against Milwaukee. They had Max Muncy at third base, and he had, I believe, a couple of errors. I want to say three, not sure on that, but he had a couple of errors, and that was ultimately main reason why they lost that game. Then they go against Philadelphia, and they have a 16 inning game, and Dave Roberts stupidly decides to go with Kike Hernandez instead of Caleb Ferguson, who was already warming up, or Rich Hill, who had gone over to the bullpen to warm up as well. So those are two games. And the third one, the blunder by Bellinger out in the outfield, where he just bobbled the ball that was hit to him, and it ended up scoring 2 runs. And ultimately, those were the 2 runs that beat the Dodgers because after that, Houston nor the Dodgers were able to score or get people on base and running runners in scoring position. But I completely agree with you. The Dodgers should have been better than what they were during this run, but it's not over yet. There's still 6 more games where they're facing teams above 500, the A's and also the Rockies, which are pretty good right now. But definitely they should be better than what was the ultimate outcome from this stretch.
Yeah, this is one thing that kind of expected from the Dodgers. I expect them to kind of get through the NL pretty easily,
Mhm.
but then the Astros were what always worried me because it's a tough team. We've seen how great they can be, and talking about how great they can be, Saturday doesn't exist. We're not going to talk about that.
Uh,
We're going to erase it from our minds.
you know what? I can't even say they were bad because the Dodgers did some real good. They did pretty well for the first couple of innings, and then they threw in John Axford, who was a new acquisition for the bullpen. But honestly, I think they just acquired John Axford to be closer to Hollywood. I read an article by JP Hoekstra, who writes for the Daily News, where he's a huge movie buff. I'm talking about John Axford, the pitcher, is a huge movie buff. And based on his performance, I think that's the reason the Dodgers got him, just to get him closer to, I don't know, someone like Steven Spielberg or J.J. Abrams. But honestly, that was Saturday. Saturday was just, my God, it couldn't get any worse than that. We're facing the team that eliminated us.
I legit just put my phone down for like 10 minutes. And when I picked it back up, we were down 12-0.
Ugh.
And I don't. It was like a blink of an eye.
Yeah, yeah, no, it was bad. It was bad. So let's discuss, Manny Machado and Brian Dozier. How do you like them so far?
So with Dozier, I'm liking what I'm seeing a lot. It's still pretty fresh as of now. It's been, if I'm correct, like 5 games, but he just pinch hit a couple of those.
Yeah.
But I'm liking what I'm seeing so far with him. As far as Machado, the consistency itself is not there, but when he contributes, it's a Dodgers victory. Like that's
Hmm.
how important he is to the
Hmm.
team.
Yeah.
He's really taking on that Seager role. Seager was Seager was the biggest factor for the Dodgers. We needed him to win. So
Yes.
Machado's taking on that role, as we saw it on Sunday against the Astros. He almost single-handedly won us the game,
Yes.
and that's what we see out of Machado. Unfortunately, I'm not going to say it was a bad trade. I'm not going to say it was a great trade. It was a good trade so far. It's panning out, but it's just, to me, it's just the consistency is not there with Machado.
Yeah, and in all fairness, it's a small sample size. It's only been 17 games. He's batting 279, but he has a 806 OPS, 5 RBIs, and 2 home runs. So he is, you know, kind of in the zone. And you just mentioned right now, you just hit the nail on the head. Sunday was pretty much him defeating the Astros, and that's something we're definitely gonna need if we were to face them in the World Series again. You hit the nail right in the head for that one. As for Brian Dozier, I feel like he's performing better than expected for me personally. I don't know. How do you feel about that?
He definitely is because of his first half numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it was a little worrying, but then again, we know that he's a second half player, especially these past 2, 3 seasons. He has
Absolutely.
a pretty terrible first half,
Yeah.
and we write him off. But then here comes the second half, and he gets on an insane hot streak. So we're hoping, and so far that's kind of what we're seeing. He's that second half player is coming. It's coming out. The only thing with Dozier is, and you can say this for Machado as well, but these guys, they played every game with, Machado with Orioles, Dozier with the Twins. They played every game. They were always in the lineup. I'm interested in seeing in the long run how well they adapt to this Dodger style of play where the lineup's constantly being changed.
Mm-hmm.
And even though you're a star player, if Roberts doesn't like how you look against a specific team or against a specific pitcher, he's not afraid to keep you out of the game. So that's one thing I am interested in seeing is how well these guys play in this environment.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we've seen it time and time again where a player will not hustle out of the box, will not run for a double on a base hit. It just and then Roberts will pinch him, and it's just like, come on, keep it consistent. And you move players up and down the lineup. They'll have a great game one night, and then the next day they're benched. They'll be in one position. The next game they'll be in another position. I mean, that's great to have versatility, but there's no consistency for them to adapt and grow and develop. And I'm hoping that moving forward, we get a consistent lineup. We start seeing more and more how the lineup's going to look in the playoffs, in the postseason. And we get that Brian Dozier from especially 2017, because in 2017, I think he was the reason why the Twins made it to that game, that wild card
The
game.
wild card.
Yeah. I mean, he hit 304, 985 OPS, and 21 home runs. I mean, 21 home runs in half a season is, the only Dodgers that did it was Max Muncy, and he didn't have anything close to that stat line, nothing close to that. But if we were to get that Brian Dozier, damn, damn, that'll be some wicked lineup.
Definitely. It, it's a big help, especially for offense. When our pitching is on, it works well. It's hard to hit, and we keep the opponents low on runs.
Hmm.
But we've seen it time and time again with the Dodgers team where we keep the opponents low on runs, but then we can't score any runs.
Yep, yep, yep.
So I really hope Machado and Dozier are the answer we need. And like I said earlier, this whole thing about Muncy and Kemp regressing, we're really going to need Dozier and Machado to help make up for that regression.
How crazy would it be if right now, Brian Dozier, Matt Kemp and Max Muncy are slumping? How crazy would it be if they finally find their swing again and they get put in a certain position in the lineup and they start hitting like they were in the first half? Then you have Matt Kemp who could hit 300 plus. You have Max Muncy who could give you 20 something home runs. He could end the season with 40 plus home runs. And then you add in Brian Dozier, Manny Machado, Yasmani Grandal, Jock Peterson, the surprise, which I'm gonna have to do an apology video pretty soon. But Jock Peterson actually performing and doing very well. Chris Taylor as well, finding his swing. This team would be damn near impossible to stop and beat. And I didn't even mention Yasiel Puig, who is still after June before he went down, before the All Star break, he came back and he still is hitting plus 300 or like 300 baseball, from June though, not from the beginning of the season, but from June, and not to mention his defense out in the outfield. So this team could potentially be, World Series champion. I don't know, but like you mentioned it, pitching has to be stellar. It has to be unhittable. The hitting has to be performing and productive. So those have to come into to the to the equation for it to work.
Yeah.
But
Because
what's your ideal lineup if we were to have right now the playoffs were to begin and everybody was fully healthy?
with everyone fully healthy, back to normal, I still like Machado at two, a nice bat that can consistently get on base.
Hmm.
And then as far as Dozier, I would like to see him fifth because I would still want Turner. I know it's been kind of a down year, but when Turner is on, we see the power that he has. So
Hmm.
I would still try to keep Turner at the cleanup spot and then Dozier behind him to protect him.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's as far as like our three biggest factors, and then speaking of Dozier Machado, that's where I would want them. I want Machado still at two and then Dozier at five, protecting that cleanup hitter.
Mm. You know what, and I have it exactly the same. I would definitely have. I would prefer. Damn, it's hard to have either Chris Taylor or Jock Peterson because they're both performing so well, and that's a good thing to have because one or the other is coming off the bench or pinch hitter, that double switch, whatever is needed. So either one that you start off, you're having someone come off to either pinch hit or do be a double switch, and that's a great thing to have. Machado definitely could get runners, moving forward, or you could get him to score the runs. Machado is definitely someone that you want there at the top of the lineup. Then you bringing back Kemp, who was having a great first half. He could home run. He could be clutch. Justin Turner, you just mentioned it. He could be the man to push us to the next level. Then Brian Dozier to protect everybody, and also we've seen him also single-handedly beat teams with the Dodgers and also in Minnesota just by himself. Right now at this moment, I would have Yasmani Grandal as our catcher. He's, as much as I would prefer Austin Barnes, honestly, Yasmani Grandal has been performing a lot better. And although Cody Bellinger is kind of struggling, I would still like him to be there because of his defense. At first base, though. At first base, not in the outfield.
Yeah.
and then Puig to close it out. Last year they started him at in the eighth spot, and man, he was on fire, just like tearing it up. And honestly, this lineup is crazy. It's incredible, and we still have the waiver deadline, which runs all the way through August. So maybe the Dodgers pick up another power bat or a power pitcher, an ace. You just never know. But what I want to know from you is what are your views and where do the Dodgers stand moving forward in the second half? What are your expectations for the Dodgers?
As far as expectations, the second half, I'm gonna stick by my thought, and that's that. I see them kind of easing their way through the NL. The Dodgers, when this team is on, it's it's very well balanced throughout. Now I know our bullpen is a little questionable, but come postseason time, we're gonna have a bunch more quality arms in there.
Mm-hmm.
Many more arms returning from the DL soon,
Mm-hmm.
and our starting pitching is good. I'm not gonna say it's great, but it's good.
Yeah.
As far as well balanced teams, I think the Dodgers are the most well balanced team. You look at other top contenders like Milwaukee, the Cubs, the Phillies, Braves. Like their offenses are good, but their pitching just isn't there. Their bullpen, they have one or two good pieces in the bullpen, and that's it. But Dodgers, they're definitely a well balanced team. Bullpen, starting pitching, offense, the depth is insane with the Dodgers. But like I said, I see them breezing through the postseason. Now the World Series, if it's the Red Sox or the Astros, I'm sorry to say, Dodger fans, but I just don't see them beating right now with this team. I don't see them beating the Astros or the Red Sox. Now, if the Dodgers get on the insane hot streak and like everyone's like Max Muncy and Kemp go back to their old ways,
Bringing on all cylinders.
and Machado and Dozier, yeah, if they're hitting on all cylinders and this team is unstoppable, then they have a shot at the Red Sox and Astros. But as of now, I just see them getting to the World Series, but I kind of think the bus stops there. What about
Mm.
yourself?
I mean, I'm there with you because the Dodgers face, the potential, I would say NLCS for sure, NLCS opponent, whether it be Milwaukee, Philly, or Atlanta. That's one of the teams they faced during the 17 game stretch. They easily could have beat Philadelphia, but obviously they didn't. But it was like close. They were there. They were almost there to take at least two out of three. The other thing too with Philly, they didn't face Kershaw, Hill, or any of our healthy players, so it wasn't necessarily a full roster. Milwaukee, we saw what they had a lot of energy. They were decent, but ultimately they couldn't beat the Dodgers. Atlanta obviously won't make it. I feel the Nationals might creep in there. They might just like out of nowhere just creep in there, but again, it's a miracle. I do feel the Dodgers just I'm there with you. I'm not gonna say they're gonna breeze through the postseason to get to the World Series. Maybe the Chicago Cubs will give them a tough time, and also Arizona. But that's pretty much it. And then with Houston, yeah, they'll probably have troubles there. But I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful based on this series. Well, what I saw was the Dodgers could have, they would have, but they didn't. It was that close.
Yeah, and the one thing that I look at is we faced the Astros team without Altuve and Correa,
That yeah, there you go.
and
Yeah,
the one game that we took from the Astros, we got
George Springer out.
half a game from George Springer, and McCullers left early as well.
Yeah.
So like it's just the Astros. The Astros are on a whole different level. That team is not fair,
Hmm.
but the Dodgers can be that team. They have the firepower,
Yes.
but it's just a matter of them coming together and doing so. And I feel like that is something that has to do with consistency of how these players play. But I'm talking about more about not of how they play themselves. Of course, that makes a big difference. But in terms of Roberts actually playing these guys,
Yes, yes.
You look at, and I'm sorry to keep talking about the Astros, but honestly, the Astros, the Astros, that's the idea. That's the ideal team. That's what you want to be. And you look at the Astros, and those players, they don't change their lineup. AJ Hinch over the manager of the Astros, he's never changing that lineup. Maybe one outfielder, usually the center fielder gets changed up. But aside from that, Bregman, Altuve, Correa, Springer, Gurriel, all these guys, they play every single game. And we see how consistent they are. I
Yeah.
feel like the Dodgers can do that. You got Dozier, Machado, Turner, Bellinger, Peterson, Puig, Taylor. I feel like Roberts should not switch these guys around so much. Just play them consistently, let them get that rhythm, and I feel they can hit that stride for postseason.
I mean, yeah,
But I,
that's pretty fair. Yeah, yeah,
but as you mentioned earlier, Dozier has two hot games to start off with the Dodgers, and then he sits them.
yeah.
And the same goes for Muncy and Kemp. These guys are hot, and then they sit them the next day, so they come back and they seem very pedestrian. So that's just my only take on that. I would like to see them play on a more consistent on the day-to-day basis. And we talked about this last season. We just want to see Roberts just throw out a lineup and let that lineup just play every day. Switch one or two pieces, but other than that, just keep that lineup, just keep it consistent. I feel like that would really help these guys out.
Yeah, that's definitely fair to say. Absolutely. That way you get a feel of the pitching, how because the pitchers have to adapt to the lineup, not necessarily the pitcher. The batters have to adjust to the pitcher because a pitcher's gonna see who's on base, who's up to bat, and who's next after that. So necessarily the batter just has to focus on the pitches. The pitcher has to focus on who's on right now, who am I facing, and who's next after him. And if it gets even deeper, who's next after him? And that's where it gets, becomes a mind game for a pitcher, knowing that you have to either strike him out or pitch away and give. Eventually, a pitcher will start realizing I can't go around this lineup, especially if Machado's hot, Matt Kemp is hot, Max Muncy's hot, Brian Dozier's hot, and Justin Turner are hot. If you're facing those five players when they're hitting 300 MVP caliber type players, uh, I don't think there's a pitcher out there that could stop them. Not even Garrett Cole, not even McCullers, Verlander and his Roger Clemens fountain of youth type deal. Yeah, I'm saying it. I'm saying it because there's absolutely no way 50-year-old Verlander is all of a sudden a Cy Young winner. I don't. But but yeah, if a pitcher sees a lineup like that, I would fear for that pitcher. I would definitely be feeling so bad for them. Definitely be feeling so bad for them. But I completely agree with you. The lineup has to be consistent though for that to happen.
Yeah, because you can't expect players to get on some sort of a hot streak when they're constantly in and out of a lineup. Like you disrupt that flow.
Hmm.
And I get the whole depth of the Dodgers, and fans like to bring it up. They're like, oh, look at our depth. We have the best depth. But I feel like that depth is better used in game time situations like pinch hitting or late game situations, not necessarily because you can switch your players around so much. I know we're in this age of analytics where you look at numbers to decide what your lineups are. And we've seen that Roberts and Friedman and company, they love their analytics.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
like I said, I just want to see a consistent lineup. Just get your best lineup out there and just throw that out every day. And your whole depth, that'll still, that still comes into play. You don't have to be constantly switching your lineup around. But
Yeah.
yeah, I agree with you. If this team gets hot, like who's gonna want to face them? You can't pitch around anyone. You can't really. Only for the pitcher, only for whoever's pitching for the Dodgers, you can kind of pitch around to get to him. But other than that, you can't really be like, oh, I'll walk Machado so I can pitch to Taylor, or I'll
Yeah.
walk Turner so I can pitch to Dozier. No, like you're gonna have to pitch to everybody,
Yeah. You can't
and
load the
that's
bases
gonna
up.
give every pitch.
You can't
It's
double up
gonna
on the
be a
bases.
nightmare.
Yeah. You can't have
Yep.
Oh, I'll walk Manny Machado, and I'll put Brian Dozier on first on top of Manny Machado, and then Matt Kemp on top of Brian Dozier. So everybody will be on first base. You can't do that. So yeah, I you know I don't know if you know this, but Kike Hernandez has played every position for the Dodgers except for one. Do you know what that position is?
I'm gonna say catcher.
Yeah, that's it. So
Yeah,
MLB right
just
now,
make it happen, Robert.
yeah, they're trying to they're already campaigning for Kike Hernandez to give him the opportunity to catch. Hey, if at the end of the season, let's say the last game of the season, we already won the division, and it's just a throwaway game, do it, do it. I would,
At least for a batter or something, I would definitely do it.
yes, yes, just like the ninth inning, have him catch for for Kenley Jensen. Oh my God, something ridiculous. I'm gonna just go out there and say, why don't you just have Yasiel Puig pitch to Kelly to Kike Hernandez in the ninth inning, one out. Just like there's one out left, and you just go screw it. I'm gonna put Yasiel Puig in and double switch it for Kike Hernandez, and that's your closing game for the season
That's how you finish this. That's how you finish regular season right there.
on some ridiculous level. But yeah, so definitely a lot to look forward to moving forward with the Dodgers. It's exciting. It's gonna start getting exciting. We're gonna like we're out of this stretch run of ridiculousness where we're just walking through the Spank Valley. Everybody's like trying to beat us up, but remaining there. And after that, you're gonna start seeing a lot more like consistency and power out of this Dodger team, and it's gonna be our division for the 6th year. It definitely is gonna be our division. Um, with that being said, I'm LAJ.
And I'm Marvin.
Make sure you guys tune in Wednesday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 Eastern. Our live shows, the daily grinds are on. We take callers. We discuss everything that went on during the week live. And then also tune into our Facebook and Instagram, Legendary Sports Organizations. We'll drop some info, memes, and even player meet and greet. So you never know. Maybe you'll meet LeBron James one day, and we'll let you know where he's at so you can meet him as well. So you guys have a great night.
Have a good one, everyone.